worship. Now, here's something let's talk about the word astrology. Okay? The definition of astrology is the attempt to base one's future upon the study or the observance of the stars.
Wow.
Now, I know that there is no church on this planet that says astrology is okay. We warn people about astrology. Don't read your horoscopes. Don't look up into the stars and observe them.
Don't read your fortune cookies.
Don't read your fortune cookies and all these different things. But I want to put something out there. Is it possible that while we are abstaining from the outward observance of astrology, is it possible that we ourselves could be involved in that satanic science called astrology?
Yes, because whatever the stars do, we do.
Exactly.
They set the trend.
That's right. People get up and they dress according to the stars. They will walk according to the stars. They will guide their lives and make their future decisions based upon an observance of the stars. That is astrology. And it is amazing as we look at how astrology is taking over not only the world, but even as we look across the churches. We're talking about denominations, all denominations. We're looking, and Satan is trapping our young people into astrology. And we don't even see it. We're not even aware of it.
That's going back to our last program, sorcery.
That's right. Going right back to sorcery, going right back to medicating the mind so that it will not follow the will or the law of God. And so we get all involved in observing the stars and allowing the stars to dictate to us how we're going to dress, how we're going to act, how we're going to live, how we're going to talk. And basically, Atone, we have gotten to a place in society, in time, where the devil has such a powerful influence through astrology.
And it's true, because I can remember as a teenager getting an Ebony magazine, and Janet Jackson was on the cover of that magazine. And I can remember putting the magazine on the counter in the bathroom and then trying to do my hair just like Janet Jackson. Okay, she has the bang just like this, and I'm trying to look like Janet Jackson because I'm worshiping her. It's like whatever she looks like, then that's what I want to look like.
That's right. I remember, Atone, being on the stage. We would come out, and I would look into the audience, and I'd see a sea of hands just doing this. The Bible calls this a form of worship. It calls it idolatry. And we know that you hear this all the time. Janet Jackson, she's my idol. Or, Michael Jackson or Elvis or whoever it is. I don't know, Mace, whatever the name they would say, this is my idol. And there is a commandment in the Bible against idolatry. God warns over and over again, do not bow down to the stars. Do not bow down to those things that are created to worship them. And we are lifting our hands. We are bowing down. We're doing all these things. And the scary thing is, as I look across, again, like I said, all churches, I'm finding that more and more of our young people are becoming involved in astrology and don't even realize it.
And Satan is so conniving, because many of us would never, ever, ever worship demons. If they were just in their regular form looking like demons, we would never worship them. And I'm not saying that the actual stars are actual demons. However, what Satan does is he controls them by doing things that he knows God would not want us to do, and then by beholding, we become changed.
That's right.
So then we are actually worshiping demons and worshiping Satan.
That's right.
But we would say, I'll never worship Satan.
That's right. Satan has, in a cunning way, made us stargazers. A stargazer is one who observes the stars. One who observes the stars. And while we'll say, why would I look up into the sky and worship those stars? There's nothing in them. They were created. And yet we're looking at the stars, and we're allowing the stars to dictate to us how we're going to live. We are even now allowing stars to dictate to us how we're going to worship.
Right.
And we're going to save that for another program. But I'm telling you, this astrology thing is way deeper than a lot of people see and understand and realize.
And like we read at the beginning of the program, children are spending more time watching television than any other activity. And then you're hearing parents say, I can't control my children, their behavior, their attitude, they're disobedient, they're this, that, and the other. But we allow them to watch these things on television, the violence on television, they're saying that children are so much more violent now because of what they're watching because of the video games. But we're going to talk about that on another program as well.
That's right. You know, Tante, I want to direct our audience to Jude, verse 13. Jude, verse 13. And it's speaking about the wicked that would come in the last days. And in verse 13, it says this in particular: raging waves of the sea, talking about the wicked, raging waves of the sea, foaming out their own shame, wandering stars, to whom is reserved the blackness of darkness forever. Star word, you see, so this goes beyond the angels, it goes beyond Lucifer, but now it comes down to us. I can be a star. I can be someone who, instead of turning the eyes of people to Jesus Christ, I want to turn their eyes to myself.
Right.
You know, the definition of a dark star. A dark star is one who, or a star that does not emit light. Dark star is a star that does not emit light. Rather, it attracts it. Just like we talked about the black hole being that star that has lost its fuel and no longer emits light, but rather absorbs it, pulls it all to itself. Well, a dark star, we know Lucifer was a dark star. He was a bright star in the city of God, but he was cast out. He lost his fuel. He lost the Holy Spirit. Now he's become a dark star. All worship he wants directed to him. Well, when we, as human beings, say, I want you to worship me. You know, I'm going to get this record deal, and I want you to worship me. I want you, when I come out, I want you to scream. And I want you to lose your mind. And I want you to, have pictures of me on your wall. And all these things, we are saying the very same thing Satan said. We're saying, I want you to worship me. We're not, in that case now, we are not giving off light, but we are saying, I want to attract light. I want people to worship me. And we don't want to be a dark star. See, the conflict is not only between Satan and his angels, but between humanity on earth, those who are good versus those who are attempting to draw attention away from Jesus Christ.
That's right. And there's good angels and there's evil angels.
That's right.
And, you know, like I said earlier, so many children or young people are being entertained by the evil angels through entertainment, but God would have it that we would allow our children to be influenced and entertained by the holy angels.
That's right.
To teach them to do the will of God and to follow God.
That's right. You know, we have been talking through these programs about sorcery and witchcraft, and we've also been talking about the power of God to lift us up. Christ says, if I be lifted up, I will draw all men unto me. And he wants to draw us from this black hole, but he can't do it if we don't give him our minds and our hearts fully. We cannot have a divided heart. We have to make a decision in our minds to say, Lord, whatever you ask me to do, that I'm going to do. Now, Tante, there is a phenomenon that's sweeping the world right now, and that phenomenon goes by the name of Harry Potter.
Right.
Everybody's in love with Harry Potter. And there are even some, as you said earlier in one of the programs, there are even some Christians who say, oh, there's nothing wrong with Harry Potter. It's just a game. We're going to deal with that in one of our upcoming programs as well, about this issue of just being a game or just having fun. But there's something interesting about Harry Potter that's going to help us in our study of Star Wars, because it is a study between good versus evil, biblical good versus evil. Okay, Harry has a wand, and this wand in the story, Harry's wand is made out of a particular type of tree. Okay, and some of you may have heard this or may understand this just from maybe studying of ancient paganism or ancient witchcraft, but Harry's wand is made out of what's called the holly tree. The holly tree. Now, if you're sitting at home and you're saying, holly, that sounds familiar. Let me put it this way. Harry's wand is made out of a wood or a tree called holly wood or holly tree. Okay? This particular wood, the holly tree, was one of a few, I think about 9 sacred trees in witchcraft. One of them was the holly tree. And the holly tree, which had red berries, was used in particular to cast spells of sleep. Okay, to cast spells of sleep. And to make one's transition into death